Welcome into Indiana basketball after the game. Tonight, Joe Hillman joins us again as Indiana takes care of Northern Kentucky. This was almost like a scrimmage, Joe. Welcome aboard. Happy holidays. Looking very festive and handsome, sir, I have to say.
I got my powder blue on. I don't know if that's real Christmassy, but yeah, thanks. Same to you.
Well, we're kind of matching. I got the blue thing going on tonight too as well. Just try to look nice, try to look professional here Christmas week instead of always looking sloppy and raggedy like some media guy. But big game for Indiana tonight. Like I said, it was easy. This was, if you're going to have a game Christmas week when everybody's gone as a student, I guarantee you this is the game you want, because it's kind of hard to get up for a game at 7:00 on Wednesday night when everybody's gone. There's nothing to do. There's nothing going on. You're waiting to leave to go home as soon as the game's over. You've been through all that.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's I don't know. We used to play Louisville on this night a lot of times, or Kentucky. So I didn't think that was always very hard to get going. But you do get some distractions, especially when you're playing a team that you should beat. And there wasn't a whole lot of students down at the game, so the atmosphere is probably you guys generate a lot of your own excitement. So they get a few days off now, and then they play another top tier team before they get into the Big Ten schedule. Who they play next? I don't even know.
Actually,
Asheville.
Yeah, they don't have they've got some couple of bunnies before they head into the Big Ten season, if we get there, with all the COVID crap going on, but I don't even want to get into that.
Well, I mean, if we're going to stop games because of sniffles and stuff, then we got bigger problems.
And that's the thing that a lot of people are bringing up, and I don't want to get away from the game, but is the fact that they're canceling games just because with asymptomatic people, and I'm like, dude, if they're asymptomatic, I think we're far enough into this where you got to know, especially if you're vaccinated.
Here's what the NFL just decided. We're not testing vaccinated players anymore because they're done. They're done stepping down and pushing games out and having guys. So basically, if you're vaccinated, you're not getting tested. If you have a sore throat or sniffles, guess what that guy's doing? Hey, I don't have COVID. I'm not missing a game. They're going to just play on. I mean, at some point, you got to get over this. And I've never seen more fear mongering in my life. It's really sad what these universities are doing, making kids go back to remote schooling and doing all that. Hopefully Indiana doesn't do that, but it's sad. Not to get all political.
I think Jim is trying to reconnect with us.
Can you not hear me again?
Oh, no, you're back, but your camera's off.
It is?
Oh, there you go. We're all good now.
So, like I said, not to get all political, let's get away from that, but hopefully we won't be shut down.
Yeah, Indiana did what they needed to do in the paint tonight. It was a pretty simple recipe, Joe. Trace and race, 80% on the night. But of course, we're looking at a team, Northern Kentucky, that they started four guards, and that's just saying four guards. They had no length whatsoever.
Well, but okay, you played the team that was on the schedule, and those guys did what they should have done, which was nice. I think the best thing that came out of tonight's game was how the ball was shared, especially in the paint. Guys were making extra passes. There was a lot of good unselfish play. And then Rob Finney had a pretty darn good game. So that was nice. But, yeah, those two guys inside, they're very comfortable with each other. The more that they're playing, the more they understand where each guy's going to be. And, it was a dominant performance inside against a team that isn't going to stop anybody that's got decent players inside. And we got two that are better than decent.
Yeah, in the first half alone, Race and Trace go a combined 6 of 9 from the field. So not bad, but 13 points. But they, of course, again, we're doing this against Northern Kentucky, so I'm not jumping off the ladder here like this was this great thing. But it was the thing that bothered me in the second half is they are every game that they either lead or they keep letting these second halves kind of get away from them. They were comfortably ahead in this game and a completely overmatched team in Northern Kentucky. But man, if this had been a different team such as Wisconsin, in Indiana let them back into the game. They shut them down in the first half. They at one point they were shooting 10%, Joe, and they ended up shooting for the game. I think they got it up to 30 something, but yeah, at the end of the first time or toward the first time, they were shooting like 10%. That was nuts. It was like they were 2 for 20 at one point, and then they kind of got it rolling in the second half. Of course, you're winning, and you're probably not going to play as hard, but I think this team needs to learn how to put teams away.
Well, that, you just said, yeah, you're not playing as hard. Well, why not? I mean, if you're the coach, you got to say, why aren't we playing? Just because we're up 20, we got to get up 30. Now, Northern Kentucky did. I mean, Faulkner didn't play much in the first half, getting 3 fouls. He showed that he could shoot the basketball a little bit, gave them a little bit of confidence. But, yeah, that's where you want to see guys that come in off the bench play hard and continue what was going on defensively in the first half and push that lead to extend it and keep going. So, they got a little sloppy with the basketball too and ended up having quite a few turnovers down. They had a 5 or 6 minute stretch where that lead went from 24, 25 down to 15 or whatnot. But those are things that just have to shore up. This team still really hasn't played 40 minutes really well yet in any game this year, I don't think. They've had a lot of spurts where they've played really good basketball for 10, 12, 14 minutes, but then they always seem to have a 6, 8, 10 spurt that ends up really hurting them. And against good teams like you're going to see in the Big Ten, you can't go dry like that. It just can't happen.
Yep. Welcome back. It's Jim Coyle with you, Indiana, after the game as Indiana basketball takes care of Northern Kentucky tonight. Joe Hillman with me, brought to you by our good friends at Southern Stone Restaurant here in Bloomington at the corner of Patterson and Rogers. Make sure you stop by. It's where Mike Whitson's Inside Indiana Basketball Show, 7:05 on Monday night with Don Fisher. You can find him there and get a great meal when Joe comes to town. Going to get him in there. You talk about incredible food. But Joe, getting back to the game, there was not a lot, like I said, no stress on Indiana tonight. This a team that just could not put much. I was coming into the game, I'm like, all right, Darren Horn's teams, he keeps his teams turn people over at a 20% clip, 20% of their possessions. And I look down and Indiana's got like 3 turnovers with a couple of minutes to go in a half. I'm like, damn, they're not turning the ball over. The second half was different.
Well, I think one of the good things about tonight was they got off to a great start and they just imposed their superior talent on Northern Kentucky. And that's what you got to do against a team like, this. So when they come into Assembly Hall, you got to say, okay, hey, look, we got the best player on the floor for sure in Davis. And then, everybody else is, if not better. And let's not even let this team think about hanging in there. And I think that to me was another bright spot of tonight's game is they got out in front, they jumped on them early, and then they just didn't let them down at all in that first half. Again, like you said, maybe a little bit relaxed in the second half. But those are things, where these guys come in and they've got to continue to play and go hard. And it all comes down to, college basketball. The big factor in everything that you see is guard play, and our guard play has to get better in crunch time and has to get better on decision makings on what's going on. We saw that in the Wisconsin game, saw a little bit of it in the Notre Dame game, where we got to make better decisions with the basketball so that we get quality shots every single time down the floor. Now, you may not make every shot, but you got to get shots. In that Wisconsin game, we haven't talked since then, but that was a game where our guard play was just horrific down the stretch, and it's still a huge factor in college basketball. So, tonight was a much better job through the guards. They just seemed they weren't as rushed tonight. Maybe that's because who they played, but the game needs to slow down and and not try to, I guess not every play has to be a home run, so to speak. Doesn't have to be a 3-point, doesn't have to be a dunk. Just make a good solid play. And a good solid play sometimes just, dribbling and drawing and making an open pass to a guy. That's a good play. So we got to get better at the guard position because our 2-3 inside guys are pretty solid. They're as good as anybody in the country.
Anthony Leal gets his first start. Hometown kid from Bloomington South High School tonight started in place of Parker Stewart. I've seen a couple of people asking why did he not play in the first half. Well, Mike Woodson made it clear that he was not going to deal with that. That's an internal thing and yada yada. And I know you've had all that stuff that you dealt with.
Well, something happened. Obviously, something happened because he didn't play that bad. He actually played all right against Notre Dame. So something's happened either with the classroom or something. Who knows? But that is what it is. And I'm glad that Mike Woodson does that. Who cares? Nobody, that stays within the team. I would have liked to seen Leal knock down one or two of those threes because he had some good looks. But other than that, he played pretty solid. He was good with the basketball. He got in there, scraped around, got a couple loose rebounds, and he played a solid game. And just for a guy that's a shooter, I think if he knocks one or two down, he's going to get on. He's going to get some confidence with that, and he can be a big help in the Big Ten with his shooting ability because teams are going to start packing it in. Even in the game against Nebraska and Wisconsin, Trace Jackson Davis struggled to get shots that. Tonight we learned that he could make a 1-inch shot. He have 9 buckets and he probably made 7 dunks. So
9 of 11, yeah.
Yeah, and so now you get in the Big Ten, you're playing against big bodies. They got offside help, and that's where we got to see Davis be more active. He's got to be better against the big teams.
Race Thompson again, 14 points, 7 9 shooting. He only had 4 rebounds tonight. A little surprise there, but another solid performance by him. Anthony Leal, he's playing with confidence at least. He's putting the ball up. He missed a couple, but he put it back up, so it's great to see that. And this start alone, and maybe he got it because of Parker Stewart, obviously, but just having this start going through that, Joe, that's an experience in itself, especially for a kid from Bloomington. So that's got to kind of, if whatever nerves he may have, that's got to do a lot to wash that away too.
Well, he'll just get more and more comfortable by playing more. And you know what? Maybe now next game, maybe he only plays 10 minutes. I don't know, but you just got to be ready to go. And, again, I mentioned it at the very start. Finney was pretty solid tonight, and they got a good game out of him. He made some shots. He made some good decisions. So he played better, and that's just what they need. They don't have with Johnson, Finney, Leal, Stewart, and I guess throw in. I'm not sure where Bates is more of a wing guy, but of those 3 or 4 guys. Same with Stewart, he's a wing guy. But with Lander, Finney, and Johnson, we got to have those guys not turning the ball over and making good decisions and then not fouling as much. I think one of the things that's hurt Johnson a little bit is just foul trouble, and he stayed away from that tonight, which was good.
Jordan Geronimo, his probably only negative tonight was that he did have 3 turnovers in the 14 minutes that he played. Other than that, though, he was 8 of 5, 8 points, 1 or 2 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds. It's not a bad stat line. He's got to get rid of he's got to take care of the turnover problem because he does so many things well that you don't want to see a thing like turnovers wash that out.
Yeah, he made a couple really nice moves, quick moves to the basket, especially in that first half. He's going to get better and better too as he keeps playing, and every day in practice, I'm sure he's going against Thompson and Davis, and that's going to make him better. And he's kind of he's a unique player. He's obviously an undersized post player, but he is very quick, and he plays bigger than his size. And so, like you said, he's just got to me, there's a guy that really needs to just let the game speed. He needs to get used to the speed and let things, because he gets going too fast, and then that's what creates that turnover. Especially with the basketball, it's always a little. You're okay. Just one little step. It's always better to be a little late offensively than early, and but he's fine, and he's active, and he gets on the boards, and And everybody came in. I thought Durr did a nice little job tonight. I mean, he got to the free throw line, made his free throws, and then Duncan came in, made a nice little 15-foot elbow shot, which was good to see. And he had no problem. He just caught it, knew he was open, stepped right up, and made the shot. So, stuff like that in these games is where you got to find out what you have, and it may not be for this year, but you got to find out what Geronimo Duncan can do for the next couple of years.
Well, and Geronimo, before I move on from him, he did something that I really liked tonight. He scored in the paint, which we all know that he's capable of doing, and then he stepped out and he took his only 3-point shot, and he nailed that and looked very good doing that. That makes him a very invaluable. Well, will make him a very invaluable player for Mike Woodson. When you can do the things he can do on the interior with that leaping ability, and if you can knock down a perimeter shot, man, you're a golden child.
Well, I don't want him shooting threes, though.
Mike Woodson does.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you make him, it's great. But what's he shooting? 20% from the 3-point line? I don't know. I mean, it's, I'm okay with it if it's at the end of the shot clock type of deal. But, I'd rather see him in there slashing and being tough to guard, because I think he can create such mismatches with his ability to put the ball on the floor and kind of just slither in there at his size and split defenders and then get to the rim. That's where I want to see him. But you know what? He knocked down a three and it was an open look. So, again, I don't want to see that off of one pass and 20 seconds on the shot clock. But if it's winding down, at least he's got the ability to knock that shot in. And he's got a good stroke. So, there's nothing wrong with it.
And you mentioned Logan Duncombe. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen more of him this year. I know he's a freshman and he's learning and going through all that, but especially in this early part of the season where they've had some opportunities, where they've had teams like tonight. They end up only winning by 18, and they're up by substantially more than that. But I would have thought he would have gotten more minutes to because they may need him when the Big Ten rolls around, man. They've got 3 guys, interior guys, really, and you're probably going to need a fourth. I would think that he's going to get, because when he's played, he's looked comfortable. He's, like you mentioned, he hit the nice little shot. He did the same thing before when he played, hit a nice little shot. I'm surprised we just haven't seen a little more of him, but obviously Woody knows what he's doing.
Well, yeah, we don't see practice every single day, what's going on. And, when you mentioned that, but I count kind of Geronimo as an inside guy and Race as an inside guy. So you really have 4 with Durr and Davis. So it's going to be tough for Duncombe to get minutes right now, unless guys get into foul trouble or somebody gets hurt. And again, we don't see practice every single day. So, that there could be some factors in that. And he's young. I mean, you can tell he's still growing into his body. He's still a little awkward. He's going to get stronger. He's just going to continue to grow into his body, and when he does, he's going to be a big factor later on down the road for Indiana, because you can tell he's got some offensive skill.
Well, all right, Joe, you've seen this team through how many games have they played now? What's their record? 10-2?
They've played like 12 or something. They play a lot of games.
12
now.
Games. They've got 12 games under their belt, which is basically a third of the season, over a third of the season. What do you play, 32 games now total, something like that?
Well, they've got, 18 more in the Big Ten, so they still have 19 games left. So
basically just roughly a third, just over a third, a little bit, if it wasn't for those 2 Big Ten games. So what have you seen from this team? Have you seen some growth? Where have you seen growth? Where have you not seen growth?
Well, I think they've just gotten better as a team because guys have gotten older. I mean, Davis and Thompson are just better. Johnson's an upgrade at the point positioning, because he has the ability to kind of control the game. But to me, they just got to get more consistent. They've got good players. Now it's, again, playing 40 minutes, because in some of the games against these better teams, even go back and look at St. John's. I mean, that was a game they kind of let get away, and it became a close 2-point game. Syracuse, they played horrific in the first half, played really good in the second half, so they didn't play anywhere in the first 20 minutes. And then we can go back to Wisconsin, where they just kind of fell apart. But that to me, these other games, I don't know how you learn much out of it. But to me, that's where we get down to They got to be able to sustain the good play for a lot more going forward. But they've shown when they do play well that they're going to be tough to beat, especially at home. I mean, now is this team going to go on the road and win games all the time in the Big Ten? Well, that's going to come down to some of their shooting, because you have to shoot the ball well on the road in the Big Ten to win. Now, with their inside play, though, they can create a lot of problems for teams by getting their big guys in foul trouble and being active inside with Davis and Thompson, and those two guys can really create problems for teams down on the road if you can get them in foul trouble where you're shooting a lot of easy shots. But now we got to see that, because we didn't see a whole lot of that in the Wisconsin game. And that would be a worrisome thing for me going forward, is how are we going to do against teams that got big, active inside guys that are Big Ten caliber players that can play. We didn't score a whole lot of points against Nebraska, who's not a world beater, and I don't even know we got to 60 against Wisconsin. So we're gonna find out in those first couple of weeks of January where this team actually is. I think it's hard to tell with what they've played.
One player I did not talk about, Xavier Johnson, maybe because he was not. I don't want to say aggravating, but maybe that's the good word for it. Really a nice stat line for him. He played 28 minutes, so he was in there for a long time. 8 points, 3 of 6 shooting. He didn't put too many shots up. No 3-point shooting, 2 of 4 at the line, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, only 1 personal foul, only 1 turnover. That is what you want out of Xavier Johnson.
Well, yeah, he's got it. To me, he's got ability to lead the team, and I don't know if this is the right. In a couple of these games, it just seems like he's trying to be the hero and he's trying to take over, and I just don't know if he's that kind of offensive player to where he's going to be able to do that. He's another guy. 3-point shots should be at the end of shot clocks. He's got to work on his free throw shooting, though. I mean, it really has hurt Indiana in a couple of these games, and he's just got to get better at the line. That's just something he's going to have to work on, though. He's not. I get he's really not shooting that poorly from the line for the year. It just seems like in those big games down the stretch, he's missed a few. But that's again tonight, what he did was exactly what you said. He was just solid, and he doesn't have to be spectacular for this team to win. In a couple of these games, I think he's just trying to do too much. And that just comes with, I think that comes with playing with this team and understanding who you're playing with and what you have inside with those two guys, and then what's surrounding around you. I don't remember much of the Pittsburgh team, so I don't know if he had to be a major factor offensively or not. He just needs to be a solid offensive player, because defensively, he when he plays without fouling, he's a tough guy to play against. And the thing I like about him, he's a tough kid. He mentally he wants to win. You can tell some of these performances where he struggled a little bit. He was upset with himself, but he'll get after it. I mean, he's a competitive guy, and I think some of that carries over to other people.
Before I was trying to copy your logo there so we could put it up on the full screen, John, if you could do that, because I can never read that damn thing when it's in that small size.
Oh.
But you're going to have to read it, Joe. I want to give Joe a shout out for his company.
Oh yeah, Touchlow Strategies. So yeah, I appreciate you guys firing that up. We're ending the year, and it was a good year for us, and hopefully we get off to a good start in 2022. I can't believe the year's already ended. It just seems like they go by faster and faster every year. But we actually just moved our offices, so we had a little bit of a downturn on that. But it's always nice to hear people want to talk about their New Year's resolutions about going to the gym and doing all that, because that lasts about a month, maybe. You know how that works out. But we like to get people in and start talking about their New Year's resolutions with saving and planning and getting going with their goals, what they want to do financially. So it's kind
college
of
retirement, man. You got to save for college now.
Well, that's if you got to save for college if your kids are going there. Yeah,
that's what I meant.
So,
that's what I meant.
Yeah, well, my kids are in college and one's almost out, so I'm almost done with that.
But well, you got one that's playing hockey somewhere. Where does he play hockey?
Yeah, he plays hockey at Holy
Ivy
Cross.
League? Holy Cross.
No,
yeah.
it's out east, but yeah, they play some of the Ivy League schools. They play a lot of Boston teams, and then they're in their.
That's brutal, man.
So.
That's a brutal sport.
Yeah, they just got done.
And Holy Cross is one of those Irish, just up there in the Northeast, kind of hockey kind of a schools.
Oh yeah, it's good. I got to go up. It was fun. They played Notre Dame twice last month, so that was fun to go up and watch that. They competed pretty good, and it's a great atmosphere up there. That was fun to watch.
Well, that's awesome. Great. The holidays are here. I'm hoping you're getting to spend a lot of time with the family and make sure
everybody's home, but you never see them.
Well, I haven't seen my daughter yet.
These kids come home and then I never see them. I mean, they're always out about with their buddies and friends, and it cracks me up because you think, oh, okay, yeah, everybody's home. It's fun. It's no different than it's been the last 2 years when everybody's been gone. So. It's funny. I saw a friend today. I said, "Yeah, the kids are. Yeah, but we never see." I said, "Oh, welcome to it."
Well, make sure you reach out to Joe if you for your New Year's resolution if you want to start getting your money together, because no better person to do that with than our good friend Joe Hillman from Trust World Strategies. And the holidays are here, Joe. So now we've got Christmas. Indiana gets to take the break, and the next game on the 29th. Another game in that this dead week. This dead zone where now you got to come back. I don't know what's worse, trying to get out of here for Christmas than coming back right after Christmas and then having to play a game.
Oh, I think the game before Christmas is always harder because everybody's kind of excited to get home for the first time. They've got a week now before they're going to play, so. They'll come back probably Christmas night or maybe even Sunday and start practicing, getting going. So it's always a good little break, and then you're excited to get going in the Big Ten season. I remember there was a couple times where when I was in IU, we'd play on the 23rd and we had a game again on the 26th. So the schedule's so much more spread out now because you start games so much earlier. We didn't start games until Thanksgiving weekend, so it was more condensed. So you had games quicker, but they'll get a good little break. Everybody will go home for a couple of days. They'll be excited to get back and get started. And then I just don't understand why they play these Big Ten games in the first week of December. Why not just have them all start right when you get back and let's go? And it doesn't make sense where everybody plays 2 games first week in December. Why not just start it right after Christmas and let's go?
That's a good question, and that's a question I need to ask somebody because I don't know the answer to that. Because I've asked that myself. I'm like, why? Why do that?
I guess they want to get the 20 games in, and then I guess they don't want to play during. Then they probably don't want to play during finals type of deal. I get that.
There's that.
And then maybe they don't want to play after the break, thinking teams would, guys wouldn't go home. But I don't know. I mean, no coach in America is going to give their team 4 or 5 days off here at Christmas. They're going to give them 2 or 3 days at the most because. You don't want guys getting out of shape, and trust me, in 2 or 3 days, if you don't do anything, it goes away pretty quick. And even with all the stuff going on now with COVID, I can't imagine people are really wanting players out and about, roaming around. I mean, at least down at Indiana right now, you're kind of in your own little bubble at the school. It's its own little quarantine. I mean, everybody's, if everybody is just down there, then how does it get spread? It's spread when people come in and people go home and things like that. So Indiana will be all right. They'll get another game against UNC Asheville before they start the Big Ten deal, and they got to go on the road. And people are going to say, "Oh, it's Penn State." We're not. Well, Indiana hasn't played a lot of true road games yet. Both true road games they've played, they've lost. Both times only playing 20 minutes, and in both games. So. Going on the road's tough, and they like we talked about, you got to get off to a good start in the Big Ten because you're not coming from behind in the Big Ten this year. There's just too many good teams, too many tough places to play. So you've got to stay you got to stay in contact with the leaders in this first, 5 or 6 games in the Big Ten. Otherwise, it's just going to be an uphill battle.
Absolutely. Give us your information again for their work.
Yeah, we're Trustful Strategies. We're up in Indianapolis, and we're a financial service company where we work with investments and financial planning. And then with our retirees, we do a whole lot of retirement income strategies to make sure that people don't run out of money. I mean, that's everybody's biggest fear, but we help with creating a paycheck for you when you're in retirement and making sure that you get to do what you want to do and get down to more IU games if that's what it is.
Heck yeah. And if you're IU, I'm sure he's got a special deal for you. Makes you even wealthier if you're an IU fan. Make sure you reach out to Joe, man, especially at Joe Hillman. You saw his address there at Joe Hillman and I lost it before it went away. Joe Hillman at twealth.com.
Jay Hillman.
Jay Hillman. Jay Hillman at twealth.com. You can see it there. And our great friends at Southern Stone Restaurant here in Bloomington at the corner of Patterson and Rogers, where, of course, you can find Indiana basketball, Inside Indiana Basketball with Mike Whitson, 7:05 on Mondays with Don Fisher. We'll be there on Monday as well. Looking forward to that. You got it. When you coming to Bloomington, man?
Let's see. I was at the Nebraska game, and then I'm thinking about coming down on Sunday the 9th against Minnesota. So that'd be the next time I come down.
Well, let me know. We'll get you out to Southern Stone and get you fed.
All right. Well, you have a great holiday, and we'll talk after the New Year's. And always fun chatting with you and talking IU hoops.
Joe Hillman, thank you, sir. Merry Christmas to you, your family, and we really, really appreciate you. I hope you have a great and happy holidays and look forward to talking to you afterwards, man.
All right, Jim, same to you.
Thanks to you guys. We can't do anything without you all, of course, every day. Without you all, there's no reason for us to be here. Thanks to John, the producer. I'm back in the studios tomorrow. We're back at it. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.